Guys, so this will be I think the final update for this Venom Gyre poison build. I might switch it to something else. I've been wanting to try Pestilent Strike. The new like meta build has been Kinetic Blast Power Siphon poison, which I think is probably strictly better than Venom Gyre, but I like how Venom Gyre feels, and I like using claws over wands and whatever random other bias I have. So I mentioned last time we switched over to strength stacking, but I guess a bit of strength stacking. We're not doing anything crazy like getting up to 2000 strength like some builds are doing. We're just getting a moderate amount because we benefit from the nice flat damage that Replica Alberons gives, and so we take that. We get what, like 10, not quite 20 stacks of this 1 to 80 damage. So it's very good for us. Adds a lot of flat damage and lets us do a lot of fun stuff like use Hidden Blade. So Hidden Blade's really neat, and I saw it at the beginning of the patch, but kind of didn't think about it at all until later on. But what it does is you basically throw a shuriken every half a second while you're phasing. So phasing, you can use phased run or Withering Step, and for us Withering Step is it inflicts withered, so it's a little better, I would say, though I can see an argument for phase run as well. So I'm going to show just the basic thing here. So when I activate it and get phasing, it throws out a blade rather quickly, like every half second is pretty fast. So 2 attacks per second. Our attack speed is like 4 attacks per second right now, so not much worse than that. But then you can support it with different things. Right now I just have on poisons to give it a little more damage. With volley, it then shoots out sets of 5, and since we have piercing, these just go through everything and apply poisons on all of those, and it gets the added chaos damage, and then we're giving it some more poison damage, which maybe isn't necessary. Maybe it's better to do something else, but that's feeling fine right now. When I was in like tier 10 maps, this by itself, well, with the strength stacking poison damage, was allowing me to just Withering Step and walk through killing stuff, and that felt great for being tier 10 maps. It also solves one of the problems we have sometimes of when we have to dodge mechanics. A lot of times we'll stop attacking, and a strength of Venom Gyre is that you're still applying poisons from the return hits, and you're still getting your life on hit from the return hits of Venom Gyre. But this lets us hit Withering Step, which gives us elusive, so better chance to dodge, and still be throwing out these projectiles as we're dodging mechanics. The playstyle is nice, and kind of goes along with what I was hoping for with this like many hits, so we're getting lots of life on hit, sustain type of thing of just quick moving idea. You'll notice that we lose phasing after we use any other ability. So if we dash forward, the phasing goes away and we stop throwing blades. So one of the ways to get around this is just get phasing that doesn't fall off. And for us, you could use a flask. Right now I think I like my flask setup like this. It seriously gives us some nice lifesteal because we're doing all chaos damage. And then the Despair Curse is really big damage and gives us the blind. Corralitos is huge damage. And then, I mean, I always have a Quicksilver Flask and a Health Flask if I'm life based. So So I was looking at that, but just we have a single point here that gives us 10% chance to get phasing on kill. So it doesn't always come up during bosses, but during mapping this triggers all the time. So it's rare that you care about using abilities and stuff during this. Often it's just during bossing you'll turn this on while you're dodging mechanics, and then it'll turn off when you start hitting the boss, and then you dodge away some more. But so I wanted to talk about this Hidden Blade because it's a really fun item and pretty unique, to just have an ability on active, and it's not the best damage, like in terms of what our attack damage looks like, and potentially it pushes us into maybe it's better to go daggers here, since right now I have these claw nodes, and I actually spec'd out of all my other claw nodes because the cluster jewel stuff ended up giving more damage than having these claw nodes and these claw nodes here, and these ones up here, because this was taking 5 nodes, actually 6 in this case, to get over here and grab these, and this was 9. I think I was doing all 9 to get this chance to blind and the crit multi, and then this was 4. So all of those instead dumped into this cluster jewel thing, gave more damage, and gives some other nice bonuses, like you get some life out of Flow of Life, you get easy wither stacks over here. So I'll talk about the cluster jewels later, but potentially this is a reason to get a claw or a dagger instead. Maybe something like Beano's, though Beano's is quite a bit less damage than Wasp Nest. Really, you get the rare dagger or rare claw or dagger with the 60% chance for poison, still 100% more damage Elder mod, and so if you get a dagger instead of a claw, if you can get enough attack speed on it, then maybe it's equivalent, and you're utilizing this dual-wielded claw a little bit better. But for now, we're doing this weird claw dagger setup, which is fine. The dagger's not really that big a deal for damage. Outside of that, I think the only thing I changed was the helmet since the last video, and maybe not even that, but it's just pretty basic strength, life, resist, and then this one also has the 5% fizz damage from hits taken as lightning. I would like more mods like that potentially, or just I need to get some other defensive thing going on this character. If I was gonna consistently try to farm tier 16 maps or something, you have to invest in some other defensive mechanic, and maybe that looks like switching this to Belly of the Beast, puts you around 5,500 life. Even that seems a little weak. I would lean more towards getting one of the Conqueror jewels and trying to get Divine Flesh somewhere. I don't even know where you would get it in this setup though. Maybe down here. It's like 6 points to get it over here. I think it's 6 points to also get it here. And then trying to get like on your armor fizz damage taken as chaos or something. There's a modifier to get 15% of physical damage taken as chaos. So you could try to do something like that. Try to bump up your max chaos resist a little bit at various points. Getting these to get the +1 max chaos resist here. There's a small cluster jewel that gives you 3 max chaos resist. So there's several things you can do like that to try to get some more mitigation going on. And right now, even like investing more elusive or just trying to be elusive more often, you still get one shot like randomly. So I think some evasion or some mitigations needed. I haven't anointed my amulet at all, but one potential for the anoint is Disciple of the Unyielding gives you a min endurance charge, and you can also craft min endurance charges onto your rings. And then if you have 3 minimum endurance charges, that gives you like 12% damage, physical damage reduction. So those are just some potential ideas. Again, if you're trying to push this into like high red maps, you're going to want something like that. I think I'm going to run a higher map right now, and you'll see the struggle. There will probably be a couple deaths. So those are the only item changes so far. Everything else is pretty basic. The rings are life and resist. The gloves and belt and helmet all are just strength. Right now the chest is just life and a couple resists, but really if this had strength or some of those defensive mechanics, that would be more ideal. And then the claw, there's so many better things that you can get than this, but the wasp nest is very cheap to start, and I didn't want to spend like a couple exalts on like a good claw and then drop this character. So I'm gonna decide what I'm gonna do with him first before I buy something. But if I do go Pestilent Strike and try that out, maybe I'll switch the claw. So passive tree, I want to talk about where this ended up, and some of the things that are a little more, I don't know, I don't want to say unique, but that I've liked. One is having Mind Drinker really smoothed out the mapping. There's a few things where you can make this unnecessary, one being replacing the wasp nest. Instead of getting an Imperial Claw, if you get a Gemini Claw, it gives you mana on hit. So in that case, I don't think this Mind Drinker would be necessary, but for me right now, these 2 points are great because it gives you leech and 2% life on kill, so you never worry about mana. I mean, all this is pretty basic. These are all 3 inertia jewels, so converting all this dex to strength. These accuracy nodes are pretty nice because they give 20 dex normally, so with inertia it converts it to strength, so you're getting accuracy, crit chance, and strength. Same down here, you're getting attack speed, accuracy, and strength, which are all things that are really good for us. I'm currently not running Precision Aura, and partly that's because of just wanting more mana, but you could put some level of Precision Aura, 20 if you can, but you could do less, and then and that'll probably push your accuracy to 100%, which is a nice damage boost. I'll talk about the gem setup after this. And then so the other big thing to talk about is the cluster jewel set. I think before I was using one with different passives here. So Unspeakable Gifts is one of the more expensive ones. It gives you the chance to explode, which is, it's really nice, and with poison it helps clear out packs quicker rather than all of them slowly dying. But if it's too expensive to get one with Unspeakable Gifts, and I think mine also has like some increased strength, you can also go for Unholy Grace. Gives 10% attack speed and 30% chaos damage, which is the biggest damage node that we can get. I don't even know if it's possible to get Unspeakable Gifts and Unholy Grace, since they're both suffixes, but I think that's kind of the choice between those two. And then if you go Unholy Grace, since it's cheaper, you can probably get a good prefix one. Like just any that gives 30% chaos damage or more is good. For medium, Circling Oblivion I think is best. It gives you damage and duration of elements. Over here I have Brush with Death, which just helps sustain a little more and is damage over time multiplier. Eternal Suffering, it's not really necessary, but it just makes Withered go automatically, so you don't have to be quite as good about using Withering Step or throwing totems with Withering Touchdown. This'll, since we're hitting so much, this will basically always get them up to 5 withered stacks very commonly. So they take 30% increased chaos damage with those 5 stacks, so it ends up being a very good damage increase if you're like me and a little lazier about pushing Withering Step or totems. And then for small jewels, ideally Wall of Muscle is the best one for our strength stacking. It gives 5% increased strength and I think 6% life. So that 5% strength should give us about 50 strength to get us that 1 to 80 chaos damage, which is big. And it'll be bigger than this 24% damage over time, but Flow of Life is really cheap, and then you can get some strength. Well, I got strength and a couple resist here, and then strength here as well. So I just grabbed those. It's only 4% life and a little bit of damage because they're cheap. Wall of Muscle is the same weight as Fettle to get, so it's pretty rare. So I think the cheapest you'll see, like Wall of Strength with no other good modifiers on the small, is like 50 chaos. So again, that's like a little much for what I was looking at. And that's basically the cluster jewel. I've seen some builds, especially the ones that have gotten more popular, not take as many things up here and either run through this way or through here to hit the life wheel, come down and get these strengths and use this as the cluster jewel spot. That also frees you up to use a Thread of Hope here, and Thread of Hope here lets us hit Fatal Toxins, Hunter's Gambit, and Phase Acrobatics, and it lets you hit piercing shots as well. So that it's really good to have a Thread of Hope here with a small radius, but I don't know, I feel like tons of people are using that build right now, and it's probably more optimal. You end up with more life, but this definitely seems to be easier and or cheaper. And that's mostly it on the tree. I mean, just picking up all these good damage nodes. These ended up pretty good damage for what they are, and that's it. So for the gem setup, typical Whirling Blades Fortify. I like this Ancestral Protector. We use Protector because it gives more attack speed while it's active. And then Culling Strike is really nice to finish bosses, and then Withering Touch lets us stack up Withered. And usually that's pretty good about getting Withered up to the 15 stacks consistently. So these kind of took one of the sets of things I had away. I'm still unsure if Vile Toxins, Deadly Elements is best here. You could probably do some sort of utility, even like a Curse on Hit, Despair setup might be better as far as damage goes. Then you don't have to get close with Witchfire Brew, and if you're not activating Witchfire Brew, this is kind of applying Despair automatically, but probably not necessary. So things that I would make, and then I have Withering Step and Dash here. I like to have Dash just because it lets you get over terrain. Blood Rage is nice damage, and we have lots of lifesteal and ways to get life back. Plague Bear is just extra damage. Then we have Cast when damage taken, Immortal Call, and then Herald of Agony and Malevolence. And this is probably the biggest thing I would want to change or figure out. So we have all these skills, and I don't think they're all necessary. Like, you probably don't need Dash. I like Withering Step with the Blade, but I don't know if it's necessary to have, since we have other ways of stacking Wither. Plague Bear is probably worth having, and ideally maybe it even gets some more setup. But Herald of Agony is not actually that much damage for us. Like, it's probably more damage to just get something like Summon Skitterbots. It takes a little bit more mana, which I was struggling with, so I don't have it here. And then also Precision. So if we could put, say, Malevolence, Skitterbots, Precision somewhere with Enlightened support, or yeah, Enlightened support, then we could run them all and not have mana problems. And that would mean we push these somewhere else, so likely dropping like Dash and Withering Step. So if I had to just change things right now, that would probably be the change. Get some Skitterbots, get Precision, and then put Enlighten with them. And that seems like it'd be like an easy way to boost damage a little bit. The Chill from Skitterbots gives you a little more survivability, and Precision gives you more accuracy and some crit, so nice DPS boost. But there's a lot of things you can do with it. I've seen a lot of people push Vitality into the builds because it's good. There's also several Watcher's Eye mods for various skills that are good, like the one that goes with Malevolence, the like increased damage multiplier. I think Vitality still has the life gain on hit, but that's where it's at now, and like maybe some things you could do with it. And that could pretty much be the video. I think I'm gonna call that good here. Maybe I'll run a map real quick and you can see what tier 16 looks like. Corrupted, hope it's not terrible. Great. So like I said, I'll probably end up dying here a couple times, and like that's just running tier 16 with less than 5,000 health and very few defensive layers. Like all we have is the built-in assassin stuff, and then I guess you could say we have the life gain on hit things, but that doesn't really help when we're getting like one shot by big stuff. So like if any of these things blow up on me, I'm just dead. So it forces you to play more actively, which maybe I got spoiled with like Charge Dash, like not having to play super actively. But it, like if anything touches you, you just die. So that's not what you're about. There's a few things to do to change that. One might be to take off Hidden Blade and use like a shield that's giving like more defensive things. Because obviously Hidden Blade's not really doing much for us defensively, other than acting as an additional life gain on hit mechanism. Yeah, that's mostly it. I feel like I never end up talking very much during the maps because it's just especially on this build, I feel like you're just clenching the whole time, like hoping you don't get one shot by something. If you guys want to see any more about this build, I do like it a lot. It's just weird being a little less tanky. If you want to see something like how Hidden Blade clears just like a tier 10 map, like by itself, just running around, I could show that as well. I think the DPS on Hidden Blade comes out to like 500,000-ish. So it's, well, and it might be wrong in POB actually, because I think it calculates it as if it was an attack. So it looks at your attack speed rather than just the static half-second cast speed. But I'm also not sure if that 0.2 cast speed is affected by any modifier. So it could be thrown out more than every half second. It seems a little quicker sometimes, but go back for this. You can see, like, in that interaction, the little explosions are really nice. And one of the big things to note with that is we can't deal non-chaos damage, and the explosions are dealing chaos damage. I haven't tried it using like an explosion chest or a different form of explosion that deals physical damage. Mostly because I don't want to buy something like that just to try it out and prove myself right. But I'm sure someone will like talk about it a little bit more at some point, since so many people are playing this Alberon's build. Oh boy. Yeah, bosses with poison resist especially are pretty brutal. I'm gonna call it there. You can imagine how the boss goes. It's a little tougher. Against the boss, if we're not hitting or if it goes into phases, we have a little trouble sustaining, and a little trouble with just damage over time in general, because I only have life gain on hit and just have this instant recovery flask. So I'm not gonna run back through that map because I didn't place a portal anywhere. So yeah, that's the video. If you have any questions about the build or want to see me do something specific with it before I like change it to something else, like respec it in Pestilent Strike or something, just let me know. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and catch you next time.